Good afternoon. My name is Aisha Chugtai, and I'm the chair of the Budget Committee. I'm going to call to order our regular Budget Committee meeting for Monday, February 24th, 2025. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so we can verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Wansley.
Present.
Rainville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Ellison.
Here.
Osman is absent. Cashman.
Present.
Jenkins is absent. Chavez.
Present.
Chowdhury.
Present.
Palmisano.
Present.
Vice Chair Koski.
Present.
Chair Chugtai.
Present.
There are 11 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. I will also remind my colleagues that we will be using speaker management today, so please make sure you sign in. We will begin with the consent agenda, which has 2 items. The first item is an appointment to the Capital Long Range Improvement Committee to seat 16, which is one of the 2 Ward 8 appointments. Item number 2 is a legislative directive requesting an overview of procurement practices for completed solicitations and contracts under $175,000. Are there any questions from the committee related to the consent agenda? I will first recognize Vice Chair Koski.
Thank you, Chair Chugtai. I just wanted to speak to item number 2. Today, I'm introducing a legislative directive that strengthens our commitment to transparency and accountability, specifically in how the city spends taxpayer dollars through procurement and contracts. As we've seen through recent conversations and heightened public interest, there is growing concern about the city's procurement practices, about how contracts are awarded, and whether the process is transparent, accountable, and above all, fair. These concerns underscore the need for a deeper look into our current system. The City Council has long recognized the need for improvements in how we handle contracts. Over the past several years, we have engaged in ongoing discussions on the topic, reviewed procurement policies, and considered reforms to enhance transparency. In just the past 6 months, we've requested and received 2 reports with recommendations, building on previous reports and dialogue from prior years. The dialogue around transparency in contracting has grown louder and clearer, and it is our responsibility to continue this important work. We must build on the progress we've made while addressing gaps in our systems that leave room for doubt or concern. With that in mind, this legislative directive requests a comprehensive review of our procurement policies and practices, particularly for solicitations and contracts under $175,000. It includes a detailed analysis of procurement trends over the last decade, shedding light on the frequency of procurement methods, distribution across departments, and vendor activity. This directive also asks for a closer look at contract amendments, extensions, and change orders, providing critical insight into the scope and nature of adjustments that are being made to these contracts. But beyond just gathering data, this directive is about ensuring that the information we receive and evaluate is made available to the public. As part of this directive, the requested report and data will be published in a way that is accessible to every resident of Minneapolis. This step is crucial as we seek to rebuild public trust and maintain an open dialogue about how taxpayer dollars are being spent. Transparency is not just about sharing information. It's about how we use that information to improve our systems, our processes, and the way we work with the public. This is an opportunity to not only address existing concerns, but also to set a new standard for transparency and integrity moving forward. This is an opportunity to raise the standard for good governance in Minneapolis. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I will recognize Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did want to ask about consent item number 2. I think it's really important for us to know who's keeping track of contracts, smaller contracts under $175,000 in nature. And fraud, waste, and abuse is a very popular topic these days. But in my time here on the council, the minimum amount was raised from, in terms of needing to go through a council process or not, from $150, I believe, to $175,000. I'm just curious if we have any sense of what kind of time or effort is going to be required from procurement for this kind of an undertaking. A 10-year look back is a massive undertaking, and I'm not sure we have, I'm not sure what that would mean reprioritizing in terms of procurement staff, but given that we are very concerned with how fast we can pay things through a procurement process, I'd want a sense of how the author has worked with staff to get a sense of scope and what it is we're actually looking for here. If there's something more specific, maybe we should just ask specifically, or maybe we could tailor it, to not be between $0 and $175,000 with a 10-year look back. Again, maybe this is a better suited as an audit, but I'm just curious how we came to this massive type of workload. Or maybe, honestly, maybe it's not a big workload and it's just about daylighting a lot of information from a 10-year period.
Thank you for that question, Councilmember. Vice Chair Koski, would you like to address?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we did not get any red flags or concerns from staff saying that this was going to take an abundance amount of time. We are in the midst of getting set up a meeting. They did flag one element of it, the last portion they wanted to go a little deeper on, but we are getting that meeting set up to find out when they would bring this information back, if it would need to be in a closed session or in open session.
So then, Madam Chair, just to be clear, you didn't hear any red flags, but did you get a sense of the amount of time, the number of hours it would take to put something like this together? Is this something that
They did not bring that up as an issue, that there would take a substantial amount of time. I'm happy to have staff come up and let us know what that would look like. But again, I will reiterate that this is about transparency for the public and making sure that we create better processes for us in the future. And if there is staff here that would like to speak to that, that's great.
It looks like CFO Director Dye is willing to answer or comment on this type of an effort.
Welcome, CFO Dye. If you'll first begin by introducing yourself and then addressing the question.
Deshani Dye, CFO, Chair Chuck Dye, Councilmember Palmisano, Councilmember Koski. We did meet with the author, I should say, and did address some concerns that procurement staff had. The system was not implemented to track procurement contracts until 2019. So that's how far back our data goes from a system perspective. And then the previous contracts were handled on a manual way. And some were handled by the departments, not necessarily centrally. So we would need substantial amount of time to gather all of that information.
Thank you, CFO. I understood that, and I understood that then you might just note that we don't have the information quite all the way back to 10 years, and so you would start at the 2019 mark.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
So then, if I'm understanding this right, this is not a 10-year look back, it's a 6-year look back. Is that 5-year look back at this point? Is that accurate?
Well, I think that they will report to us that they don't have that data to show us, so that will be a significant data point, and then also giving us what they do have, yes.
Madam Chair, I just think that if we're looking at increasing transparency and creating new processes in the future, that maybe going from 2019 would just be sufficient.
All right. I will next recognize Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Vice President Chuck Ty. First, I just want to thank Councilmember Koski for bringing forward this legislative directive. The Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee has had a lot of conversation related to procurement and contracts this term. And prior to recent events, which I am imagine now, have had many council members having to field questions about contracts. I have also been interested in reopening the procurement ordinance that council passed back in 2022. And the goal of that ordinance was to increase efficiency, which was something I was supportive of, and I know the body was as well, as it passed unanimously. But since its passing, it's been clear that there is an increased need for transparency around reporting of some of the financial transactions that happens through various departments around procurement processes. And also, outside of recent embarrassing stories about contracts that have been approved by city leaders, I will just note that I think this is an effort that is just tied to good governance. It allows for this information, again, to be transparently shared with the public. And the fact that this has not been a requirement for us to also enact oversight, it's kind of wild to me. But I'm glad that this legislative directive is at least attempting to address that now, and I hope that in getting this information that the public as well as the council and most of the departments are able to share that they are essentially employing best practices when they are dealing with contracts that are meeting the threshold of under $175,000, which do not require council approval. So again, I am looking forward to the presentation coming back, and I will also be meeting with a number of my colleagues to talk about additional solutions that we've been discussing in committee around how we can further enhance transparency to address some of the financial issues that we've been seeing happening as it relates to the administration's very interesting approaches to procurement and contracts these recent weeks. So with that, thanks, Councilmember Koski.
And then next, I'll recognize Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Chuck Tai. I just want to thank Councilmember Vice Chair Koski for bringing this forward. I think our residents deserve to know what their tax dollars are being used for, and I think looking into these contracts is really important. I think many of us have shared many concerns throughout our time here about the current procurement process that we have in the city enterprise and how sometimes it's not fully transparent. So I think this is a practical legislative directive that I am very happy to support, and I look forward to getting back this information by June.
Wonderful, thank you. And seeing no further questions or discussion, I'll move approval of the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? We have one abstention, and that motion carries. Next, we will move to item number 3, which is on our postponement agenda. Before we move on to our next discussion item, I wanted to just quickly address the biannual personnel report. At the request of staff, we are postponing this item to our April 14th, 2025 meeting at the beginning of the second quarter, and then the second biannual personnel report will be presented in the first budget committee meeting in September, right after Labor Day. Are there any questions or discussion? I'm not seeing any. So on the motion to postpone this item to April 14th, 2025, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries. Now we will move to item number 4, which is our one discussion item on our agenda today. This item is related to the appointed position of Director of Talent Acquisition in the Human Resources Department. So I will first invite Brenda Miller from our Human Resources Department to come up and speak on the item.
Chair Chugtai and members of the committee, I'm Brenda Miller, Classification and Compensation Manager for the city, and I'm here today to present one item, that is the Director of Talent Acquisition in the Human Resources Department. This position reports to the Director of Human Resources or the Chief Human Resources Officer and oversees sourcing, identifying, and hiring city employees, as well as now the Urban Scholars Internship Program. The Director of Talent Acquisition has been evaluated at 575 points, grade 12. The salary schedule ranges from 128,364 to 152,167. The estimated 2025 cost is about $186,000 and will be mostly offset by reallocating funds from the existing manager talent acquisition position. Remaining funds will be paid through the HR department's general fund. Changes are effective February 27th of 2025. This position meets the criteria of Section 201010 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances. It reports to the Chief Human Resources Officer. It's a member of the Human Resources Department's executive management team. It participates in the development and implementation of city policies, goals, and strategic planning for the Human Resources Department. It requires leadership, vision, team building, and strategy implementation. And finally, it establishes policy goals and strategies that are consistent with the goals and priorities established by the mayor, city council, and chief human resources officer. Our request is that you find that the Director of Talent Acquisition meets the appointed criteria as defined in Section 201010 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances and forward it on to council for final approval. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Miller. I'll now invite the Human Resources Director, Nikki Odom, to come and just speak to the need for this this position and any additional context that the body should be aware of. Welcome, Director.
Thank you. I am Nikki Odom, the Chief Human Resources Officer for the City of Minneapolis. We are asking that this position be elevated to a director role. As you all know, as part of the budgeting process this year, the Urban Scholars Program was transferred from civil rights to HR, and this position is going to be overseeing that particular program this year. We're very excited about it. So we will be adding, through the budgeting process, a couple of FTEs were added to the scope of this particular job. So the talent acquisition group will be taking this over, specifically the talent acquisition manager. And although the program is a summer internship program, the work goes on all year. So we, once it was actually transferred and everything was approved by you all during budget, we got to work. We started working with organizations who wanted interns this year. We'll be opening the application process for individuals who are interested in the program. So there's all of that work, plus, there's program work and making sure that we are mentoring and matching the interns in a way that that they deserve, and that makes the city obviously look good. So it's a lot of work, and this particular position already sits on my leadership team, and already is probably the second largest division within my department. So adding this makes it one of the largest divisions in my department. So it seems only fair that we just kind of recalibrate and make sure that this position is at the level that it should be.
Thank you for that additional context, Director. So just before we open it up to discussion, I see a couple of members in queue. I wanted to ask briefly if, I understand that this action is consistent with the decision-making through the budget process. Does this mean, or should we understand correctly, that the Urban Scholars Program is on track to start this year within the Human Resources Department?
It is. And like I said, I think applications open pretty soon, if not at the end of this month, but the beginning of March. And so, yes, we are on track. We have a number of organizations who have raised their hands to take Urban Scholars. So I think right now we are predicting that this program will be bigger than we initially anticipated.
That's wonderful. With that, I will first recognize Councilmember Cashman, followed by Vice Chair Koski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Odom. I was just wondering about the Step Up program as well. Is this also something that this director will oversee?
Madam Chair, council members, no, Step Up is actually a different program that's in CPED.
Okay, thank you. And so how many supervisees will this director have?
Well, overall, I think we're at 16 reports within the division, and that's I think we're at a little over. I think we're at 14. So then, with the Urban Scholars Program director and coordinator, that adds 16, I believe.
Okay, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Next, I'll recognize Vice Chair Koski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Director. I just have a couple questions. So just so I'm clear, there's someone in the role that we're elevating into this director role, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so they've already been doing the work of this, hence why it's on track. Curious, and you may not know this, and that's okay, just a little bit about that program of how, since we moved it, and I see this being a great pathway forward in talent acquisition, how have they seen or how do you see this continuing to make sure that we're bolstering this program and into future leaders at the city?
Madam Chair, council members, well, one of the great things about housing it and talent acquisition is our talent acquisition folks, especially our recruiters, are out in the community on a regular basis. So part of it is just making sure that people know about the program. And, you know, we are partnering obviously with our learning and development group to make sure that the programming is updated. I don't think that the programming for our interns had been updated in a few years. So just making sure that the program itself, you know, there's one development day every week that the interns are participating in. So making sure that that is up to date and is meeting their needs. You know, this year is really just kind of a let's see how it goes year. We've had a lot of interest in organizations wanting to sponsor a Urban Scholar, which is really exciting. And so, you know, we'll get through this year, and obviously we'll do some surveying and making sure that, you know, our Urban Scholars and our partners, our organization partners, are happy with what we're doing. And then if we need to make tweaks, we'll do that. So I think it's really exciting. And I think this is a really great place for our Urban Scholars program, since our talent acquisition team is the team that is responsible for ensuring that we have top talent. We've, you know, I think since the talent acquisition division has been established, it's going on 2 years now. You know, we've had some really good wins in terms of attracting people of color and traditionally marginalized individuals into the city. So we will continue to do that, and this is just another way to ensure that people get exposure to public service.
Thank you. And yes, I appreciate also the reminder that the talent acquisition team itself is so new, but adding this is a great, I think, is a great step forward as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any further discussion, so I'll move approval of this item. Do I have a second? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and that motion carries. With that, we have concluded all business to come before the Budget Committee today, and with no objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Oh. Yes, they have that noted. Perfect.